So I guess we'll start with, what do you guys do, and who are you guys?
Okay. Well, we're performance health and wellness. We have a couple physical therapists on staff now and a massage therapist. We've been operating in the valley since 2018. I started it, in July of 2018. Kind of the story behind that is I guess I took an uncommon approach to getting into physical therapy. It wasn't something I ever had dreamed about or even considered. I was coaching college basketball for a long time and decided to kind of take a career path. So my background getting into physical therapy was in education. Have a master's degree in education. So it was education and it was coaching. So that kind of brought a whole different approach to what I even do now. That definitely shaped our ideas and our philosophy. So I went back to school to get into physical therapy school and do all that when I was in my mid 30s, and I kind of brought this whole different worldview back to school, and that shaped a lot of it. It ended up causing me maybe to kind of question a lot of what I heard during physical therapy school, during my internships. Got me in a little bit of trouble because I was questioning things, but I had this different perspective of life and how things maybe should operate, and this idea of I loved working with individuals when I was coaching them, and being able to just work, together one-on-one, and see that improvement, and see those gains. So I go through a couple of physical therapy internships, like Dr. Tara here would be able to talk about those too, kind of what that was like. But I'm working in these clinics doing these internships, and then I get my first job, and I was just like, this isn't what this current system, the way things are set up, isn't what I kind of had hoped it would be or imagined it would be, as far as being able to really truly help people. I came to this realization that the medical system itself is broken. And the provider, it's not the provider's fault, and it's not the doctor's fault, and it's not the physical therapist's fault. It's the system itself is broken. And I'm bringing in this past life experience with that also. And I just saw that it wasn't the relationship oriented field that it should be. And I'm coming from this background that was all about relationships. So when I'm coaching and we're recruiting and we're doing things, it's all about building relationship with the recruits and getting them on board, and they're buying in, and then working with the team. And it's about building this relationship throughout the season. And that's really what I wanted to see. So now I'm in my first job, and I'm seeing all these common things that are going on in the medical field, and that's overworked providers being slammed with 30 patients a day, not being able to spend much time with them. And now we're in this situation where I've got to see 4 patients in an hour and try to get them better. And somebody comes in for the first time, you got to try to figure out what's going on. Like, what do we need to help you with? But I have all these other people backed up that I got to go see. So we get these crowded, rushed appointments. There's no real time allowed to spend time with people and get to know them, and get to know what they want out of the therapy, and just understand their own unique goals and strategies. So that just rushed, overcrowded scenario, it leads to bad things when we're talking about patient care. If you go, best case scenario in my current, or my first situation, was I got 15 minutes with a person. I had 15 minutes to figure out what's going on with them, figure out what they need, and then I got to pass them off to somebody else. And that was just normal day-to-day treatment. And I was a new grad, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm getting through the end of the day going, what did I just do all day? That should, I got to give them that. And so it's just like, that's what I gave the last guy with back pain, so I got to give him the same thing, because I don't have the time to figure it out. And then we're rushed trying to get that, so we can't sit and communicate with them. I couldn't spend the time that I wanted to deal with them. There's interesting statistics out there with the medical field of, your average primary care provider, you see them for 9 minutes how are they supposed to figure anything out? How are you
Right.
supposed to develop a relationship with that? Because they got to go to the next one. And then that leads to this rushed, your provider's rushed and needs to get to the next one, and they can't give you their full attention. And that leads to, they've done studies on where they've watched interactions between patients, and the average provider will interrupt their patient within 11 seconds of them starting to tell a story, because they're trying to, they have a question, they need to get that answered. And so I was like, there's just got to be a better way. And so I investigated that. What can we do? There's got to be a better way. And it's like, like running numbers and doing all that stuff from the business standpoint of, how can we make enough money to get by, but still provide this high quality of care? It got to the point where I was just like, forget it. We just got to operate completely outside of that system. So we just like, we're opening up. This is what we do. You're going to come see us and we're going to take care of you, but we're going to be able to spend that time with you, and we're going to be able to figure out what's going on and build that relationship so that we can get you exactly what we need. And part of doing that is, and we just had to say, forget it to the rest of the common healthcare things, and say nope to insurance, and we're taking what's best for you as our client into account, and we're not going to have to answer to anybody else.
Right.
We just can't. We running numbers and looking at the business side of things, it's impossible to be under that current system and be able to provide the quality of care that we want. So I started Performance Health and Wellness in 2018. With that, took another, just an uncommon approach to even starting the business. We didn't go out and finance it in any way. We tried to keep our overhead as low as possible to get started. So that meant I was starting off in a couple of the local gyms here in town. Didn't have my own space, would treat people in the gym in a little private room, and then we'd go out into the gym if we needed to do exercise and do that. So I was able to do that for about 2 years, and kind of build up a big enough clientele that now I was able to kind of move into my own place. And that put us into our current location here on Main Street. And again, kind of took an uncommon approach to that too. It was the middle of COVID 2020, July 2020, and I'm going, hey, I'm moving into a new place and we're opening up. And it was crazy. That put us downtown. I wanted to be downtown. That's actually how we ended up meeting you guys and your family, who is, I say, your family just does some amazing things for the businesses in this valley. And just supporting the economy of this valley. And we were lucky enough to now partner with you, and we've done stuff with you guys now with artwork, our art walk, which lets us kind of get out and be seen in the community. So that we started into our own space now. It was just me working by myself. And again, just slowly continuing to grow as people kind of figure out what we do and how we do things and how we're different, and how that can maybe benefit them, and the word starts to spread. So we've grown. In the last year, we've been able to grow quite rapidly, maybe even faster than I had anticipated or was comfortable with. But we added a massage therapist last June, Amanda, and then about 7 months ago, things just again aligned perfectly. The space next to us came open. We could rent that out, and that opened up more space for us to bring in another provider. So we were able to bring in Dr. Tara here, and she's our pelvic health specialist. So that opened up our ability to help even more people, and it fits. Amanda as a massage therapist and Dr. Tara is, with what she does, just fits perfectly into our vision for what we want. Amanda's not your common massage therapist. She doesn't follow a script like a lot of massage therapists do, where you come in and you're like, I want my 60-minute massage, and they're like, okay, we'll start on your right shoulder, and we work our way down and come around. She's more of the therapeutic massage therapist. Every time you see her, it's going to be different, because she's getting in there and she's listening to your body and understanding what you need that day when you're there. And so she's going to work on one shoulder, and she might go to the other shoulder, but that needs something different, and she's going to address that in a different way. So she again takes that uncommon approach to massage. And then we have Dr. Tara as our pelvic health specialist. That fits perfectly into our model of being able to provide the high quality care that people need, especially when we're dealing with that pelvic floor or pelvic issues. It's a pretty intimate subject, and can be very life-changing for people, for the bad, when things start to go bad. But then when she's able to help them and provide what her expertise is, it's life-changing in a positive way after that. And so we've been able to bring her on. It's been great to have somebody that's got the drive and the true care for the women's health side of things. I think one thing, again, with that common traditional healthcare, I think we've really done a disservice to women in the women's health field, especially in the realms of like pregnancy, pre and postnatal care that they get, and what's kind of just considered normal, and what's the common approach now. You're a young lady that gets pregnant for the first time, and you find out, and then you go to the doctor and it gets confirmed, and then they're like, great, see ya.
Right.
We'll see you in 9 months when you have the baby.
Yeah.
But the body needs so much going into that we just don't address. And coming to see her for a couple appointments in that to get your body ready for that, it's the equivalent of running a marathon. Like, who in their right mind is going to do nothing for 9 months and then go run a marathon,
right,
with no training at all, and then expect it to go well, right? It's going to be a disaster. So you have that prep that we just have forgotten about and we don't care about, and then there's the postnatal, all of that. You go through the trauma of childbirth, and it is a physical trauma. You go to the trauma of childbirth, and again, they're like, all right, come back in 6 weeks and we'll see it. Like, good luck. And then you have these people that had an active lifestyle before that, and then they get nothing after that. And then they try to go back to what they were doing before, but things just don't feel right, and it just doesn't act right. Well, there hasn't been any rehabilitation for that. So bringing her on, we've been able to do that, and we're opening that up. And it's a big education side of things. Like, people just don't know that that's available, because that's not the common thing in American healthcare.
And it might just not be studied that much, or just not touched on, because the appointments really have a high turnover rate at the hospital. No one has time to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have your 9-minute appointment with your OB, and like, they aren't gonna, they just can't touch on that. And so it's been a very missed opportunity, and something that could be really helpful for people. And so I'm glad that we've been able to do that. And so, yeah, we have Dr. Tara now on staff. It's been going good. We're just trying to get people educated in the community, get the providers in the area educated that we're here. She's got a board certification that I'll let her kind of go into what that means. But she's got a board certification in this specialty field, and she's the only one. She's the only one in the Valley. It's a very underserved specialty across the board, but for us to be able to have one of those here in the LC Valley we're really lucky. And it's not like she was even born here.
Right.
She chose to come here from a long ways away, and we're just lucky to have her. So I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about what she does.
Yeah. So, I moved here 6 years ago from Florida. And I started working at the hospital here in town. And kind of after my contract ended, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, more specialized, And so I started the specialty of pelvic floor rehab in at the end of 2019. And so I started, that took a lot to get off the ground, as anything does. But a lot of times when anybody wants to get into this kind of field in PT, you kind of find a mentor, and you kind of get under someone's wing, and they kind of show you the ropes. But that wasn't the case for me. So, which was still okay. I was still willing to take on that daunting task. And so I started taking courses through Herman and Wallace, which is a postgraduate institute, and kind of like sipping from a fire hose, you know. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to take all this information and hopefully do well. And so, but once word got out, it kind of started to build, and that was really great. And so I just continued to do as much education as I can with it, and that took quite a bit. I mean, the series of courses that they have are pretty in depth. And so in this past May, I took my PRPC. I sat for the PRPC, which is Pelvic Rehabilitation Practitioner Cert, and I passed. So that was great because that's, you know, basically gave me an expertise in pelvic rehabilitation. Right. But yeah, like Kyle was saying, that it is a really underserved population, and that's the main reason why I even got into this, is because I had friends, or my friends had friends, who were complaining of issues like, oh, I pee when I cough, and I'm like, well, you know, that's not normal, right? You know, and they're like, what? That's not normal. And I mean, it's common. It's been normalized, right? But it's definitely shouldn't be, you know, accepted as normal. And so that's when I kind of figured out, like, this is seriously lacking in this area. And the closest provider, I think there might be one up in Moscow. Other than that, it's like, good luck, you know, maybe Spokane or Boise. And so started that, and it's just been such a rewarding experience treating that. But I'm just glad to have this clinic here so that I can provide that service, like he was saying, to mostly women, and kind of through that prenatal, postnatal part of their life. And so it's been really rewarding, though.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what got you in touch with performance health and wellness? Was it just that you were specialized and you were looking for a place that would fit in, and he kind of had his specialty shop set up where you would just fit in? Or how did you...
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I wasn't even really looking. It's kind of funny. We kind of met and didn't go into it with like set plans of, oh, I'm going to really interview for this place. You know, it's kind of like, I like what he's doing. I don't know if he's really able to take on another person, but let's, try it. And then the more that we sat down for coffee and had this conversation, I was like, man, our visions actually really line up really well. And I remember going home and I'm like, I think I need to take this. Like, I think this is going to help and be part of what I really want for my career in the long run. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how that happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it kind of similar with the rest of the team? You mentioned the massage therapist. Is that kind of a little bit, did her kind of vision for what she wanted to do kind of align with the shop as well?
Oh yeah. And that, we were talking about with Tara, it was like a month-long process of like really trying to figure out with each other if our views align. And because if you're getting into it and you're getting into it with the idea that we're outside the box thinkers, and we're outside of this system, and we don't want to operate like that, like we are different and we're uncommon, that you better also really buy into that, because it's going to be different, and there's going to be different struggles and different challenges that come along with that. And so if you're not like totally bought into it, it's just not going to work. And so we spent time, vetting that out, is like, and given Tara and given Amanda, like, hey, here's the challenges that it's going to be, and it's going to be a slower process because we just don't have floods of referrals getting sent to us, right. And so it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be challenging in a different way than, just changing a job. It's a whole different mindset, a whole different lifestyle of how it's going to work. So once we realize that they're lining up with us, we're like, okay, we got to get on board with this, because it's going to be hard to find anybody else.
Right. Well, do you find like the contrast between you guys and then the traditional system of doing things, where, I mean, especially you, since you're so singled out and specialized, but you as well, where maybe the traditional like physical therapy or your OB, a lot of people might feel like they're not being listened to, especially since the appointments are just turning people in and turning people right back out the door in such a short time? Do you feel like just you guys being specialized, maybe you get people that are maybe having more issues than are being dealt with?
We if you were to look at the majority of our clients, especially the people that I deal with that are more, that general orthopedic pain situation, something's not right, whole body wise, is within the first couple minutes of sitting down and actually just talking and listening to them as they start rattling off, I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this. And just the people, they want to get better. They want to be able to live the life that they want to live. And, and they try something and it's, it's a cookie cutter approach here. And then they go somewhere else and it's another cookie cutter approach. It's a different shape, but it's still a cookie cutter. And then to just kind of sit down and listen to them, and they realize that they've been listened to. That's probably when we send our feedback out to people, that's probably the number one thing that she gets back is, I was actually finally listened to, and now I understand what's going on, and that I understand that there's something that can be done about it. Right. And a big part of that is, I think, just the listening and being able to make that connection with people and give them hope that there's something that's going to be done, and it's going to be different.
Yeah, and a lot of people may try going outside of the valley if not for you guys, or if they hadn't come across you guys, they might be headed out the valley for receiving care that's kind of maybe a little more specialized. So it's kind of a really cool thing that you guys are here. So so who do you guys I guess let's start with your expansion. What kind of from your main shop that I've seen, kind of take me kind of through the journey of like expanding and what kind of expanded capabilities for each space that you utilize.
So what we were able to do when we first moved in, it was a space, I don't know how many square feet. It wasn't huge, but we had one treatment. I had my treatment room, and then I had like a 400 square foot gym space where we could get out and I could have people move, and we could work there if we needed to. When the suite came open next to us, that opened up about 1,000 square feet that we could get into there, or I guess just under 1,000 square feet there. So what we were able to do is we were able to move that gym space kind of next door. It's adjoining, and we have a door connecting the two. But then that allowed us to put in more treatment rooms in the original space, so that now all three of us have our own designated space, so that we can have more people in there, but they're still getting that one-on-one care, and it's still like that personal. You're in there just by, it's just me and you. It's just you and Dr. Tara, and we're able to, build that relationship and have that important discussion that we need to do, or get over that very specific treatment that you need, without having a bunch of other people around and having 8 other people in the gym. Like if you come in and it's gym time that you need, you're going to be in there by yourself with the professional working with you, and there's not going to be 7 other people in there. So again, it gets to be very more personalized, and you get the attention that you need.
Right. And with the gym space, it's not really a gym. It's more maybe for kind of the workouts that you need to run them through, or maybe for you to kind of visualize like what they may be doing wrong to cause injury.
Yeah, and we're set up, our gym is set up not like a traditional physical therapy gym either. We have a squat rack, we have barbells, we have a bench, we have kettlebells, we have all these things, because
none of that's normal.
All the people, that's normal in a gym, that's not normal in a physical therapy clinic, but if your issue is, I want to pick up my granddaughter without having back pain, well, then we need something that's going to simulate that. And you need to be able to show us that you can do that. And I need to see what it looks like when you pick something that's heavier than just a rubber band or a 5-pound dumbbell that's in a normal physical therapy clinic. Like, what does it look like when you do that? Because that's going to look a lot different if it's 5 pounds or it's 40 pounds.
Right.
And so to be able to break that down with people and get very specific with it rather than just going, oh, here's what everybody else does.
Right.
So we can tailor stuff to what your needs are. And, and we tend to get a little bit more of an athletic or an active population of those people that are like, I'm trying to do this, but now my back hurts and I don't want to give up my crazy mountain running, or I don't want to give up my paddle boarding or things like that. So we can tailor that to them more specifically.
Right. And you can tell them you need to change your body here in order to facilitate this.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're pretty much into that same kind of realm as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
kind of what do you see when kind of someone comes in the door to accept your services? What kind of what do you see from them when they kind of seek out? How do they approach you really?
Yeah. So most of my population, I would say, is that peripartum, pregnant, or postpartum. And man, I'd say we're getting some referrals from providers, but a lot of it is word of mouth, as the Valley typically is. And so, but yeah, when they come in, I think the biggest thing that they find surprising, and this kind of touches on a question you had earlier, was that I sit down and I ask them, I'm like, all right, well, tell me your story. And they're like, wait, what? Like,
Right.
You want me to talk about me? I'm like, yeah, I do. And so hearing them out, and like Kyle was saying too, is just being that active listener and just trying to put their whole story together. And when they tell me certain things that are going on, oftentimes I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And they're like, you're the first person to tell me that makes sense,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, it does. And I'll educate you and we'll talk about why. And I think that's the biggest thing, at least from what I specialize in pelvic rehabilitation, is that awareness and mindfulness, like for them to know more about their body and why things are connected, why the things that are happening to them are occurring. That's huge, right? That's just huge to be able to have that and kind of empower them a little bit more, versus where sometimes I feel like they're kind of blamed for a lot of the things that are going on with them. So, yeah, and some of my patients are really interested in returning to sport or returning into more high level activities. And that's, a lot of times we'll get out in the gym and we'll start, doing treatment out there. But a lot of them just want to be able to have the confidence in just doing everyday things, knowing that the things that they want to do is that going to hurt them? Is that going to be detrimental? And then once they kind of figure out, we go through some treatment and they realize like, oh man, there are things that I have control over that I can do to help myself, and to kind of things to look for on an everyday basis. That's when they start coming into me and they get really excited and they're like, oh my gosh, guess what I did this week that, or guess what I didn't do this week,
Right.
And so so that's kind of what that population looks like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pregnancy's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So postpartum is especially weird.
Yeah.
Especially because you got used to like having something for extended period of time.
Yeah, and especially your first time. Like that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of them, my goal would be, pelvic PT is standard care, right? When you go in to your provider and you're checking in with ultrasounds or whatever, prenatal checkups, that it's set in your records to have some sort of pelvic PT, 1-2 visits after, even just, a couple of visits. And so it's not uncommon for me to hear like, man, I wish I would have known about you or heard about you or, seen a pelvic PT, but, during my first pregnancy, so that I could have at least known what to kind of prepare my body for.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So how many people do you get before the baby's born? Do you get any of that? Or
Yeah. There's a a portion of that, yeah, which I'm really excited for, because
Right.
it's kind of like, all right, this is great. I think Kyle can agree. Like, we don't want to see our patients. We
Right.
want to treat them and get them better, but we ultimately don't want to see them in the clinic.
Right.
And so that's my goal, is that they kind of have a really good understanding of what to expect, and then if things start to backslide, or they notice like, oh man, I know this isn't normal. Okay, if this is happening, I'm going to go take care of it now. I'm going to reach out. And so that's ultimately like what my goal would be with it.
Right. You guys are kind of in similar, it's pretty much almost the same. I mean, you guys get people in, and they might find everything pretty interesting, because, our bodies are kind of made to heal, and different parts of our bodies are made to support other parts. So you kind of give people an interesting understanding of their body. Do you guys find people are more interested in what you guys do after visiting?
Yeah, I think the human body is just so complex, and it's beyond even our brain's ability to understand exactly what's going on. And so I think we've oversimplified it a lot. We try to compare our body to a machine or a car, and but it's like, okay, that kind of works, and it simplifies things maybe from the basic physics level of levers and things like that, but we're made up of billions of little individual living cells that are all operating on their own for the greater good of our body. And there's no machine that does that. Like, you can't drive down the road, have your wheel fall off of your car, and then have the other three wheels in the suspension of your car just automatically compensate and keep you driving down the road.
Right.
But our bodies can do that. We can have something going on in our ankle, and we're feeling that in the shoulder, and it's affecting something going on in our shoulder. Like that idea that we hear it's said, but like everything's connected. But the more we are learning about the human body now, with the modern technology that we have, and our ability to see things like in real time, like put somebody under an MRI and have them move and see how that really works, we actually are really realizing that it is all connected. And
right.
Dr. Tara, she's going to have somebody maybe that comes in and they've had back pain for years, but they're there for another reason, pelvic floor related, and all of a sudden she starts treating the pelvic floor and their back pain goes away. I mean, the pelvis is such a crossroads for everything that goes on in the body, that a lot of those things that maybe like, I don't know, why isn't this responding to the normal thing? Well, maybe we need to look somewhere else, and that's going to be a great resource for me as well, to be able to go, this isn't quite right. Maybe I'm going to have you go see her and see if something going on in her specialty is going to take care of what we're dealing with. And I think our model and that non-traditional approach allows us to do that. Like we're readily able to share. I'm certified in dry needling and licensed in dry needling, and that's something that she's not there yet. She hasn't taken those courses or gotten that certification. Her certification is like way cooler than dry needling, but but we've shared that. She's like, hey, I've got this person, and I'll jump in the middle of their appointment and provide what I can do, and that's been a game changer for a couple of our clients where she's like, there's something not quite right there, but I can jump in and do that, and we can kind of co-treat together. So being able to just offer that to people too is just another great thing that we can get.
Probably a lot less friction between sending people back and forth and stuff like that than a traditional, like, oh yeah, let me go get you this guy. I don't know what his appointment schedule looks like. And
and that even happens with Amanda too. Like she'll get in clients for massage therapy, and then kind of overhear some of the stuff that we do, and then we realize, oh, they're on our schedule, and which is great. They're getting help for whatever they have going on. But
so what can you guys say about kind of her specialty? What do you guys get people in specifically for her only, or is there like a ton of crossover where you're just seeing.
We have a decent amount of crossover. I guess the other part of her specialty, which again, things just kind of lined up right, as Amanda loves and is big in the prenatal massage.
Oh yeah.
And so and we've got the special bolster for massage where the lady, when she's far along, can actually lay on her stomach, and it's the cutout table so that she can actually get some relief and do that. But so we're able to we're able to cross over between. So, a lot of people also don't really understand all the aspects of physical therapy and what we can do. They think, oh, well, I didn't have surgery, or I didn't injure myself, but my back hurts, so like I'm going to go to a massage therapist. And so then they're finding her and how good she is, and she's able to work with them, and if they're getting the relief from her, great, but she'll work with them a couple times, and if it's something where she's like, yeah, you probably need to go see one of these two, then we're able to just smoothly transition, and we're in the same place. So before that person even comes in, we're talking to Amanda going, what are you finding, what's going on here? And then they can come in, we can address the stuff that's in our specialty, get them going, and then they can transition back to her. So there's just that free flow around where we're just kind of, it's kind of full service. We can hit you with whatever you need from that musculoskeletal standpoint.
Makes a lot of sense, really. I mean, if you come in for just a massage, hey, this isn't helping, you can kind of look at, like, what's the muscle structure going on here? Like, why does your back hurt? You can kind of talk over like what they do for a living, kind of what are you lifting at your job, what kind of sports do you do, all kinds of stuff, really. So it's kind of, you guys can probably gather a ton more information as a team than pretty much any singular appointment with an outside massage therapist that might just stumble upon you guys instead and have way better experience. So it's pretty cool. So do you guys see a big advantage once you get someone in that may have visited elsewhere prior? I think, again, we get a lot of the people that are like, oh, I've tried this and I've tried that. And so to be able to, bring something different and, co-treat, or just having that ability to actually, we are free to listen. Like, we don't have anybody else there when we're there. So we don't feel rushed, and that kind of brings a calming effect on the whole patient experience. You walk in, we don't have a crowded waiting room. You're not going to sit around and wait and then get sent to a room and then wait. And you're going to walk in, you're going to meet one of us, we're going to take you back, and we're going to start working right away and just communicate. So just the whole environment itself is completely different than anywhere else. It's even visually different. Like, you walk by, it doesn't seem like the White Halls. I get lost in hospitals, to be honest. I'm like, having my baby, I'm like, you know what? I just left the room. Now I don't know where I'm at. Like, point me in the right direction. You guys is visually different. It'd probably be that environment probably be a lot more comfortable for quite a few people, really. So if you don't like hospital halls and your back hurts, but and you guys probably get into like quite a few like uncomfortable kind of personal things with a lot of people. How do you guys? Are people a little bit apprehensive to talk about some things, or?
For me initially, and she'll be able to speak on it because it is different in her situation. But an initial appointment usually is a little bit, people are a little bit standoffish and not sure what to share, and as it goes on, they realize that we really are listening and we're paying attention and we're taking that information that you're giving us and we're forming a hypothesis and an understanding of what's going on. And I try to encourage people to talk, because I don't know how many times they'll be telling me their story and it'll be one word or one sentence that triggers something in my brain that goes, oh, we need to look at that. And that a lot of times is that missing key that wouldn't have been there if I wasn't able to listen. And so as that relationship kind of builds and they're able to spend more one-on-one time, they do open up more, and then you're able to see you're able to see the life change. I mean, when somebody can come in and have the life change that we provide for them, it becomes an emotional adventure as well.
Sure.
Like their identity changes. If you've been living with something for 3 years and it's, it's my back has been preventing me from doing this, and this, and I've been the person that can't do this, and now all of a sudden we're able to get closer to that. It becomes an emotional journey because now they're going, wait, I'm not that person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I may be I'm more who I would want to be because I can do the things that I want to do. But it becomes a fun but and sometimes even challenging emotional journey because people struggle with that sometimes. Of wait, this isn't me anymore. Now what? Right.
Like,
now what do I do? And Dr. Tara will be able to talk about more of that because hers becomes even more
intimate.
Mm-hmm.
I get that a lot, and it's definitely some like apprehension. I think it's just the idea behind it, and that's that first appointment where they come in. I've always joked that I've wanted to do like a pre and post interview of just the first visit, because they come in and sometimes they just sit there and they're like, all right, I think I'm here for my appointment with, to come see you. And then by the end they leave and they're like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Like I have 5 things I get to go home and work on, and then I can't wait for the next appointment. And so I think just like Kyle was saying, it's the fact that we have the ability to sit a patient down or client down and go, okay, I want you to tell me your story. And that usually in our traditional healthcare system does not offer that opportunity, right? And so having that and again, like just being able to make some connections of what's been going on and start to kind of tie to draw some of the dots, together, they kind of go, oh, okay, that really makes sense. And so the first visit is usually pretty like it flips, and then but it's also the environment, right? Like the privacy of the room and like the rapport I'm able to build with them. And so but by the end, they're really interested.
So do you guys end up with a lot of new friends at the end, since you kind of just are spending quite a bit more time with people, so and if you do end up fixing a lot of their things that are just preventing them from living a normal life, they probably end up liking you guys quite a bit. So I mean, do you see that you're hanging out with some patients after work and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've definitely gotten some cool relationships out of it and got to know people that we, wouldn't normally know. And just, again, it's that relationship. And now we know them and they know us because, again, and that communication and relationship building goes both ways because we're spending an hour together and I've got you on the table and I'm working on you or doing something and you're working hard, and then I'm telling stories, a lot of that's to distract you a little bit from maybe the uncomfortable thing that I'm making you do at the time. But I think my wife's like, everybody that comes into your office knows everything about us because they're getting stories about our kids, and they're getting a story like, yeah, you wouldn't believe what my son did yesterday at karate or whatever. But and again, that's part of that relationship that we're able to build, and it builds trust and an understanding that, hey, we really do have your best needs in mind with what we're doing. So
for your business, you do events like Art Walk, you have the kids around, you guys seem to be pushing the downtown presence quite a bit. You guys are pretty proud about being downtown, and downtown's been growing like crazy. Can you speak on kind of that and how that's helped you guys become a part of the LC Valley?
Yeah, I think, I don't know what it was when I was starting off my clinic, but I guess we've lived in a lot of different places, and we've always kind of been drawn to like the downtown little neighborhoods and the things like that. I've always liked just hanging out there, and when we were looking for a place, I was like, why not downtown? Like, and again, I'm trying to differentiate myself a little bit from the traditional clinic, and I'm like, there's nothing like that downtown,
right?
And let's maybe bring a little bit of life, and what a cool location to be at. And we got so lucky with our finding a location that was the right square footage and the main street frontage and all of that, like just stuff that just added to it, that just made it so much better. But it's fun and it's exciting, and yeah, we've been down there for now almost 3 years, and to see the growth that's happening downtown and more businesses coming in, and having Tapped right down the street from us now, and just seeing that, and like I've been watching them for 3 years, fine, and it's like they're open now. I'm so excited. That's awesome, and to just see some of the other newer businesses come in, I'm just hopeful that they're gonna that they can make it, and that the community continues to support downtown, and that was it was also a marketing thing for us. Is like, where can we be where we can do maybe some different type of marketing. From a business standpoint, for us, it's not really beneficial for us to just like blow up radio and TV ads, right? Because we're kind of a niche market, and we want kind of a specific group of people coming through our door, that we needed something different to kind of get people's attention. And that was part of downtown. Is like, well, beautiful downtown Lewiston puts on all these awesome events every year. Like, that's a great opportunity for us to kind of showcase that. And then then we ended up in a great location, and then it turned into, well, great, now we're here, we can showcase us, but why don't we showcase other businesses, other people, and let them come in and use our space? And that was what led to us finally like reaching out to you guys, and like our financial advisor that we know that has partnered with us during Art Walk, and to just be able to say, hey, we have this really cool space, like we know we have this awesome space, and to be able to share it with everybody else, so that they're able to get that exposure and come through such a cool event, and have the music that we have, and all that stuff that we do, and then to be able to go, oh, well, this person was here too, and this business was here too, and to just get more eyeballs on all the other businesses. But for us to be able to share that is pretty cool, and we enjoy that.
And you get a lot more probably networking opportunities and stuff like that through like BDL, maybe groundwork. I don't know. Someone probably drank a beer with you, but I do know that every time I go into your place, I like the front door. That heavy
that front door,
I like it. I don't know why.
That front door is getting a reputation. Yes, it is a heavy door, but I just say that's part of the rehab. Like,
I like it.
It starts the second you grab that door. Like, you gotta work a little bit to get in.
Can't put the tensioner on it to make it lighter or anything.
Oh, it's on. That's the crazy part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Take it off and see if it's lighter. So, and you. What do you think about? I don't know how long you have lived here, but what do you think about the LC Valley and maybe the downtown area?
Yeah, it's grown. So 6 years I've been here, and I've just noticed more and more business coming in downtown, which is great to see. Like Kyle said, I had eyeballed on Tapped for a little bit, and I'm so happy that they're in now.
It did seem very sudden,
it did.
It seemed like no movement, and then bam, it's all done now.
Yeah, but even some of the other businesses further down Main Street, it's just so great to see. And working there, I'm always in the clinic, and you can kind of just see people like walking downtown, and it's just great. It's like busier, and I love to see that.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's just maybe some more foot traffic downtown. Maybe there's more places that might be worth parking and just taking a stroll down Main Street and stuff like that. Maybe you guys will get more.
No, I think I'm seeing that. I've been in the first summer I was in, that was a wash because that was middle of COVID, but between last summer 21, 22, I'm seeing more downtown, just foot traffic and just life down here, just on a random, your random days, middle of the week, there's people walking around all the time, and it's been fun to see, and we've been there long enough that I'm like, no, this is like noticeably improved and noticeably different, so that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I think we episode 3, it's not released yet, but we had Brenda with the BDL, and we kind of learned about kind of the downtown area, kind of her jurisdiction, if you will, and I think she name dropped you guys a couple times, so she's impressed with your guys' efforts, it seems like. But yeah, I hope this little podcast kind of helps get people to understand kind of you guys, your philosophy, kind of your beginnings and everything. And well, how do people get a hold of you guys if they're interested in your services?
So you can get access to us. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram at LCV Health. Our website is lcvhealth.com. There's a lot of good information on there. You can get more background on each of the providers, kind of get a better understanding of what the clinic looks like. Mm-hmm. We've got some education on there too, as far as like, hey, this is what to expect when you're coming here, because again, right. it's different. And then there's online scheduling capabilities from our website. We really enjoy people calling. That is, again, and that's the other side of, we aren't overcrowded, we're not over busy, we're not rushed. So when somebody calls, and the first thing we all ask them is, hey, so what's going on? Tell us your story. And we want to get a little bit of that story, because again, we're a small business. We need to have success with what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And so, if we're hearing something that's just not quite right and we're not the right fit for mm-hmm. you, then we're able to help you find that right fit. So right. It starts from that very, very beginning of that first time you reach out to us, is we're gonna interview you a little bit too, to make right. sure you're good for us, that we're gonna actually be able to help you. Mm-hmm. And if not, then we'll find somebody that can. So yeah, the phone, we love the phone. People reaching right. out to us by phone, just so we can kind of get that understanding there. But yeah, there is online scheduling capabilities and all of that through mm-hmm. our website.
Nice. Yeah, and you did mention like, hey, I want to find out if we're not for you. I've always appreciated that. I use Postal Copy Plus in Clarkston quite a bit for just printing, flyers and stuff like that. And I had a project I brought to him, and he's like, this one's not for me. And I've always appreciated just, hey, I'm glad you listened to what my project was, yeah. Understood it, and maybe I'm not the fit for you, but I think people would probably appreciate that style of turnaway rather than, nah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it doesn't benefit me to bang my head against the wall trying to figure it out when right. I'm not the right one for you. Mm-hmm. And then you're not going to have a great experience mm-hmm. with us. And it's just bad all the way around.
Right.
So,
well, I think a lot of people would probably enjoy your guys' business and be comfortable in doing business with you guys, whether they're the right fit or not. So thank you guys very much. I hope we can get this out and help you guys out a little bit.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Thanks for reaching out. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.